There we go.
We're live?
We're live.
I guess we should know
the hotel.
Yeah, Hail time on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And hey, it's First Down Rams on Wednesdays.
Oh yeah, a new thing. No longer on Friday nights, on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
Looks like you guys got the message. So
Yeah.
thanks for coming in tonight for First Down Rams.
Yeah, welcome everyone as we talk about the Rams. We're going to briefly talk about the Rams versus the Jaguars, and then I'm sure we'll talk about the Rams versus the bye week. Heated matchup. Dare I say, probably going to be a win.
I hope
optimistic.
So. I think the bye week is underrated. Like, people are kind of sleeping on the bye week, so we got to watch out.
Trap week, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, Rams house. It's good to see you again. How are you? Are you ready to talk? I guess you know what. Let's dive. I know you're ready to talk Rams. Let's just avoid the general pleasantries here, and let's get into it. What were your reaction to that performance by the Rams over across the pond in London against the Jaguars on Sunday?
I was as pleased as any fan could be, to be honest. Like, stress-free football on a Sunday morning, the perfect way to start the day, getting a nice stress-free win, 35-7. It felt like there was nothing you could look at on this team that was to get your hopes down or be like, oh man, we're just not doing this well or that well. It just felt like one of those games where you're just happy to be a Rams fan and you're just thankful to be a fan of a team that is putting on a performance like that against a good Jaguars team. While they kind of shot themselves in the foot a lot in this game, the Rams also played a really good game. So I came away really happy with this going into the bye week, 5-2. You got to get as many wins as you can because the NFC West is very competitive this year, and 5-2 still doesn't put you at the top of the division. So glad they could get a win, get a lot of momentum going into the bye week, and I think we're looking up from here, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Lots to be thankful for. And everyone in the chat, thanks so much for tuning on in. We will definitely get to your comments and questions, and we want to shout you guys out along the way. But I'll just say this to kind of I want to put in perspective. So I watched that game. I hosted a watch party for that game. And literally the entire third quarter, when the Rams didn't get a touchdown or score a field goal of any kind, I just remember being like, okay, like, what's going to happen? Like, this game, it's got to be close. Like, just because I'm used to that with the Rams, right? Of just going into that state of, okay, like the Rams are looking good, but the other team's going to make this competitive. And the Jaguars definitely tried to make it competitive, but they just could not execute. And as much as the Jaguars did shoot themselves in the foot, the Rams put them in that position where they were making tons of mistakes. And I think in football, especially in the modern NFL, when your team doesn't have a large margin of error, and you make those simple mistakes, that is when a team can just annihilate you like that. And I think that's what happened with the Rams versus the Jaguars. I don't discount that the Jaguars have had some good wins this year, but I think comparatively the Rams are just in a better roster position than they are right now. And if the Rams and Jaguars played 10 games in a row, I'm confident the Rams would win 8 of them. And so I like that the Rams had that performance, especially just seeing like all the tight ends get involved and just, so like it felt like, all right, you get a catch, you get a catch, you get a catch. And then even the defense, like it just felt like, Darius Williams is making a play. Jared Verse is making a play. Byron Young's making a play. Kobe Turner's doing his conductor dance. And it was just an overall like great team win for sure.
Yeah, I think it was really fun to watch because kind of to your point, everybody did eat on both sides of the ball. And that was really fun to see, especially like we talked about heading into the week with Puka Nacua missing the game, how we thought that could actually help the Rams offense in a way because it's going to force them to get creative and use all the weapons that we know that they have. Now, none of us could have predicted that Colby Parkinson would be the leading receiver in yards in this game. But I just think that speaks to the fact like the Rams made a conscious effort to get everybody involved and to utilize all the different kinds of skill sets, you're going to look to those 3 Devontae Adams touchdowns, which were immaculate, I must say. But
Yeah,
if you look around and you watch this game, everybody got involved, and that was so fun to see everybody's skill set and like involved in this game plan. Because I think that's one of the champagne problems that us Rams fans have had to this point in the season. People are always like, the ball is only going to Devontae Adams, or the ball is only going to Puka Nacua. We need to get more people involved. This game, you get 10 different people involved, and you just had a game where it felt like everybody had their hand in a win, and it was just a dominant win that you really can't complain about.
absolutely. And speaking of not complaining, I don't think either of us are going to complain about anyone watching this show tonight or on the replay. So thanks for tuning on in with us. We got to give a couple shout outs. I see Bruce was in here early giving his thoughts. Appreciate you, Bruce, aka Old Man Ghost. We got Porter hanging out at church. That's cool.
Yeah.
On a Wednesday night. That's fun.
Nice.
Willie Bowen's here since the 60s, one of the OG Ram fans that support our channels, and appreciate you, Willie.
Yeah, love you, Willie.
Jack 42. Yeah, mi amigos. Appreciate you. And of course, do you know who this is?
Grandizer. Let's go, Grandizer.
Yeah. Oh, wrong show. It's not time for weekly pickup. It's time for first down rant. We got to get an intro. Oh, man.
We do.
We do. We got, who else is in here? We got Rams Mob in here. We got Rams 25 in here. You know what? That's a win-win right there, Umdi.
Yeah.
I always mess up his name. I know it's from Dune 2. Next stream, I will get this. Umdi.
Yeah.
Umdi.
We got to get this down.
Yeah, we do. I got to rewatch Dune.
Yeah.
And thank you. I'm so excited for the Blue Jays. And I know a lot of you are Dodgers fans. And I know that the Dodgers are favored, but I never thought I'd see the Blue Jays make the World Series again in my lifetime. So go Jays.
Yeah. Underdog.
We got Daniel here. Hello. And Rob's here. Oh, he found us. Yes. Talking about a complete win. And who else are we shouting out here? Okay, you know what? I think we caught up here, but here's a question from Grandizer that let's address. What about that TD to the rookie for the Rams? Now, do you mean Kenona Mumfield, or do you mean Terrence Ferguson? Because, in fact, both of them got a touchdown on Sunday.
That was exciting.
What are your thoughts on that?
I was excited to see that because, earlier on, we saw that Kenona Mumfield touchdown back of the end zone, and very first drive, I was like, there, we got our rookie tight end. I didn't think we'd see another one to Terrence Ferguson, and he almost had 2. Because later on in the game, they threw the out route when they were within 5 yards of a touchdown, and it was close to happening there too. So I was excited to see the involvement. You talk about Konate Mumfield being a 7th-round pick on this Rams team and making a big impact on here. I love his route running. I love his athleticism. And it's cool to see him get more looks. And I'm sure you did, but I'm not sure if you saw the comments that Devontae made about Konate Mumfield and comments he's made even back in training camp about how much Konate reminds himself of him and his route running and where he was at, and now he's at an even better position than what Devontae was in his first year. So I think the future is bright for the Rams. And as we talked about before, there's so many different ways the Rams can beat you, so many different weapons that they can get involved, that it makes it exciting because it's hard to predict who's going to get the touchdowns.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people underestimate what an accomplishment Mumfield has already done, making a roster as a 7th-round draft pick, and then actually having a role in the Rams offense. And it's funny because I feel like because Puka Nacua was a 5th-round pick, people are like, oh yeah, the Rams just find late-round talent all the time. But Mumfield, he's a guy. He absolutely is a guy. And I see him with the Rams for years to come and being quite productive, especially if he's showing these flashes as a rookie wide receiver. I cannot wait to see what he does next.
And it's cool too because I look at Mumfield and I already look at him as one of the best route runners on this Rams team. When you go down the board, the Rams have very talented receivers, no doubt about it. But I think they have their kind of skill set. And you look at guys like Puka and Whittington kind of being similar in that sense. Tutu kind of does his own thing. He's a good, like everybody's a good route runner in here. But I think when you look at pure like footwork, fundamentals, like pure just route running, I'd put him up there with the top ones in this Rams receiving core, which is really exciting to see. Maybe he can't do the blocking to the level of a Puka or a Whittington. Who knows? We haven't really seen him in that position yet, but he can separate. And I think that's really exciting to see.
Yeah, no, definitely. I got to bring up this comment here. So, hey, Steven, good to see you, Steven Evans.
Go Dodgers.
Yeah. And then, okay, wait, it's Muwapti. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll get it.
Watch the David Lynch version. Okay, noted.
Okay.
But Muwapti brings up this question. Rams dominated so hard. Travis Hunter also had his first tutty, and no one cares. It's funny because he's the second overall pick, right? And I did what any fan of the modern NFL does is you watch your opponent's fan reaction videos to see, what are the thoughts. And pretty much every Jaguars reaction I saw, they were livid. They were like so mad of that performance. Some of them are pretty out on Trevor Lawrence, but all of them said, at least Travis Hunter got on track. Like, and it's like, okay, like, but I kind of felt like that touchdown was sort of a like, oh, okay, here you go. Like it didn't, not to discredit Travis Hunter or anything, but like, that wasn't like a game-changing touchdown, right?
No, and like to me, if you take that touchdown away, what was that, like 40 yards or something? It feels like his stat line looks a lot different without that one. Now the touchdown happened, it was in garbage time. If you were to ask me, did Travis Hunter have a big game in this one? I honestly would have said, I mean, he had one big play, but I think the Rams did a pretty good job overall on him, and obviously the Rams win by 28 points. So like, I'm not really thinking about what Travis Hunter did.
Yeah. I'm pretty indifferent to it.
Yeah.
Kenota Mumpfield has one of the best names in the league. I'd agree.
Yeah, we got some cool names. Puka Nakua, Kanate Mumpfield, Kyron Williams. That's a cool name.
Rams know how to draft names. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rams are the GOAT team ever. SoFi, we have the best stadium. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I have a question for you, Peo, and for the people in the chat. What are your thoughts overall on this Rams defense, especially after the game that we just saw? Because the Rams won 35-7, and that their offense did really well. I'm not going to take anything away from them, but I don't think the Rams defense is getting enough credit for what they did against the Jaguars and really what they've done in back-to-back weeks against the Jaguars and the Ravens. I think a lot of people kind of sold the Rams stock on their defense after that 49ers game and what we saw. And it feels like, other than like some hardcore Rams fans, a lot of people just aren't really talking about the defense as much anymore. And so I just want to get your thoughts on that performance the Rams defense had against the Jaguars and what your thoughts are on them moving forward down the line.
Yeah, you know what? Last week on First Down Rams, I said, I want to see Trevor Lawrence on the sideline with the tablet frustrated. And that dream came true multiple times in that game. It would go to Trevor Lawrence, and he's like looking at the tablet. What did they do? Right? And that is because the Rams defense is playing at such a high level, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not just Byron Young. It's not just Jared Verse. It's Kobe Turner. It's Braden Fisk. It's the whole unit. And like we could talk about Quentin Lake, right? We could talk about Darius Williams making plays, right? Like there's like Kobe Durant. There's so many standouts from this defense, and it's play to play. They really do like take it one play at a time, and it's so electric. That's the word I would use. I cannot wait to see the Rams defense when they come on the field, and even like when the Rams punted for the first time, and Ethan Evan, who also had a pretty decent punting performance. There wasn't a part of me that was like, okay, like the Jags are getting the ball back. It was like, all right, I'm excited to see the Rams defense play.
Yeah. And I mean, you have reason to be. Like, they got stars all across the board. I love what Shula is doing with the defense. Yeah. It's just as I feel like the Rams defense has been so consistently good for the last 2 years. More so like back half of the last season to this season. But I feel like obviously the Rams offense hasn't had a performance like this in a while where they've looked this good. So everybody's kind of looking there. But I'm like, hold on, like the Rams defense, they held their own there. And like you said, when you see the opposing offense have the ball, you're kind of excited because you're like, this defense has just destroyers all over
What are they
that side
gonna
of the
do?
ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like what kind of highlight play are we going to see? And yeah, I think it's just been such a pleasure to watch the defense.
Definitely. Question here from Grandizer. Could the Rams have the next greatest show on turf wide receiving core? Puka, Whittington, and Mumfield, young wide receivers. I guess Devontae Adams is here too.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Like Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce, it's both of them were like athletic freaks, right?
Right.
Combined with amazing hands. I don't know if we'll see like as crazy awesome as Puka is, he has a very different game than either Torrey Holt or Isaac Bruce do, right? So yeah, I don't know. I think right now I'm of the mindset of you just have to let the greatest show on turf be that era, and we have this new era where we have really physical wide receivers that are just they're matchup nightmares, right? And they get schemed open a lot because they have a really good play caller in McVay. So that's kind of my take on it. What about you, Rams House?
Yeah, I can definitely see what he's saying, but like I wouldn't say that it's to that level, especially because like you're taking into account greatest show on turf to having Marshall Faulk. Like he was just like Kyron Williams is a good running back, but I wouldn't put him in that tier. And Faulk did both things like out of the backfield, but also in the passing game. So like I wouldn't put it in that level yet. But do the Rams need to be the greatest show on turf kind of offense? I don't think so. But I think they can still put up great performances, and that will get the job done, especially with a good defense. And like you said, Coach McVay knows how to get these guys open. So,
yeah, definitely. Hey, what's up, CMDR Carney? And then we got a question here. Pale and Rams House, game balls in the win, and who was your player of the game? Whew. Granizer with the hard-hitting journalism here. I think we can agree, like game balls, you got to give Stafford one of them for 5 touchdown passes. Give Devontae Adams one for 3 of those touchdown catches.
Yeah.
I would give Jared Verse another game ball, like he was putting pressure on Lawrence all day. Those are off the top of my head. What about you? Who would you add for game balls?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go in a little bit of a different direction of like underrated game balls. Because like you mentioned some of the obvious ones that we have, and a lot of players played well. I don't think first off that enough people are talking about what Braden Fisk did, and I didn't really notice this until the day after. And you're seeing some of these film cut-ups of what he was doing. I think he had like 8 or 9 pressures in this game.
Wow.
So while he didn't register a sack, like he was making a difference back there, and it was cool to see because he's been kind of banged up all year. So Braden Fisk is kind of an underrated one to me. And another underrated one, in my opinion, is Cam Kinchens. Cam Kinchens was everywhere. And it was one of those things where it's like he's not getting turnovers, but he's around the ball all the time. And I think that was one of his best games in terms of diagnosing what plays were going on and being in the right spot. And so I kind of took it a little bit of a different direction because, we can go to the obvious ones, but those 2 ones are like game balls that people aren't really talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's tough, when you ask this, you ask us to pick one. It's like you're asking us to like pick a favorite child or something. Not that either of us have children. Your player of the game. I think I gotta give it to Stafford.
Yeah, that's fair.
In this, because it was a near flawless game from Stafford. So I think I'll give Stafford my player of the game. What about you, Granizer?
Yeah, I definitely think like if you're to pick just the obvious one, you have to give one out. I would give it to Stafford because like Devontae has those 3 touchdowns, but who are those touchdowns coming from? And that second touchdown throw, that we had to Devontae Adams, that one where he caught it one-handed, like that was an insane catch by Devontae Adams. But Matthew Stafford also threw a perfect football. Like there was not much room to put it in there. And I think Stafford's just playing at such a high level, leading the league in touchdowns. We've talked about his MVP case. So, yeah, I think you could definitely give it to Stafford if you were to give one out.
For sure. I am going to skip a couple of – well, I'll take a couple more questions here. I see some new people that have come in the chat, and then we'll get on to our first segment of Over Rams Action, which, of course, we want you guys to play along with us. But I see Sincere here. Good to see you. He said, I think everyone knows this team's biggest need is corner. What would be your guys' dream secondary trade for this Rams team? Ooh. Good question.
He says it's a dream, so it could be outlandish as I want. I know people are not going to like this after the game that he had, but I would still love Jalen Ramsey back. Like that's a true dream scenario. It's not going to happen. The Steelers are winning games, but that would be like a dream. As far as like realistic, I'm actually feeling pretty good about this Rams cornerback room right now, and it's definitely changed with the way that they're playing. I think, oh man, there's a lot of good options. I still like Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
But
I stand by there's not many elite secondaries in the NFL right now. Right. Just the nature of the position. We've talked about this, and I see Sheriff Joe with Rams Showcase. He's saying Rams. Oh, yeah. We've talked about it. I guess like dream scenario, you know what? Let's a JC Horn would be cool, or maybe like a Patrick Surtain the second would be cool. I don't see either of those happening. Yeah. So I think Denzel Ward probably would be the only realistic one on there. But yeah, that I am kind of in your shoes. I don't see the Rams making a trade for a corner, barring some sort of injury that happens. But we'll see.
Yeah, Ram Showcase here says Snead from Tennessee could be real. Yeah. And honestly, I do like Snead. I think he's a little bit grabby for a corner, but like you're kind of getting picky. Like he's definitely a top corner there. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind Snead too much. It's really weird how much my opinion has changed recently about this cornerback room, because Darius Williams, in my mind, like he's been playing really good. I think if Darius Williams was still playing at the level that he was a couple weeks ago, Ram Showcase says it there too. If he was still playing at that level that he was a couple of weeks ago and kind of like on the downhill like trajectory, I would be more adamant about the Rams need to go make a trade. But for some reason, it feels like Darius Williams has just turned it on. It also feels like after that 49ers game where we saw them playing that bend but don't break style defense that we don't like, it feels like Shula has adjusted after that one bad game and has been putting the cornerbacks in better positions. Yeah. So like, would I be complaining if we got a corner? No. But I don't feel as passionately like the Rams need to go out and get one if they want to win the Super Bowl, especially with Kello coming back. Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like we're not talking about that enough at Kello's. No. Like, reinforcements are coming. Yeah. I think it's a question of, like, when he's coming back. I don't know if you know exactly. Like, I just assumed December based on the injury he had, but I still am not sure exactly when he comes back. Yeah, I haven't checked in a couple of weeks. For some reason, I feel like the first week of December was kind of the target, but I could be wrong with that. Maybe something's changed. This is one of the funniest comments that only Ram fans will actually understand. The Titans owe Rams some goodwill for giving them so many players for nothing. Yes, seriously. Like, okay, let's think about this. Robert Woods, the first one that comes to mind. Johnny Hecker's there now, but like he went via free agency. Ernest Jones. Yeah. Oh, you're kidding me. It's not their fault. They traded him away for more than what they traded to get him. That's just – yeah, that's crazy. I feel like we're missing another player too. The Rams, I feel like under Les Snead, like, and Sean McVay in particular, have never been the greatest about getting value for the players that they trade away. I think part of that's because they just want to make sure the player goes to where they want to go. But that's definitely frustrating because you're like, I know that this player is worth like a 3rd round pick, and then they go off for like a 7th round pick swap, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Oh, the Les Snead special, right?
Yeah.
Trade a player with a conditional 7th round pick and get it for a conditional 6, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's brutal. When you know to expect it, it doesn't hurt as bad, but it's like sometimes you're like, man, I think we could be getting more for these players. But at least
Yeah,
the Rams recuperate with the draft picks they have really well, especially recently.
totally. Yeah. Well, let's everyone. We are going to pause on comments and questions. We will get back to them, but appreciate everyone chatting in. But we want to play a game with you as we do with each other each and every first down Rams. We are going to play over Rams action, and I'll leave it to Rams House to describe how we play.
Yeah, so this is weird saying over Rams action Wednesday. I'm so used to saying over Rams action Friday here,
We got to
but
change. We got to adjust.
we do. We got to adapt above the neck, as McVay would say.
Yeah.
So over Rams action Wednesday. Here's where our little graphic for today. Just to give you a little preview. Over Rams action Wednesday. It's a spinoff of what Rich Eisen does on his show with Chris Brockman. Is essentially kind of hot take topics that I pitched to Payo Time and to you guys in the chat, and you guys both react. Is this a fair take? Is it a hot take? And of course, every subject is about the LA Rams and the LA Rams only, just the way it should be, right?
Yeah.
So, starting off here, number one, Devontae Adams will lead the league in touchdown by year's end.
Ooh.
Just to give you a picture,
Like receiving touchdowns.
Yes.
I'm assuming you mean. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's second in receiving touchdowns to St. Brown. Devontae Adams has 6 right now, and St. Brown has 7.
Okay. I'm going to say that's not an over Rams action. I think that's realistic, especially we talked all off season long, and I know I talked a lot about it. Devontae was brought in to help fix the Rams' red zone woes. And like him catching 3 touchdowns in the game might not happen again the rest of the season. But I could see him having kind of a DeMarcus Robinson from a couple of years ago where like 5 games in a row he catches a touchdown pass.
Yeah.
And so I totally think him having the most receiving touchdowns in the NFL is very realistic. So I'm going to say that's not an over Rams action.
Yeah, we got the chat saying under Rams action, too many targets on the Rams. And then we got Sincere saying under. This is actually a good idea here. He says we need a graphic for when we make a pick over versus under. So like maybe when we have an over Rams action, have a graphic come up. We definitely should do that though.
We need to get more graphics. Yeah,
we do. I think it's fair to say. I mean, obviously you could have like recency bias based on like, Devontae Adams just had 3 touchdowns, so you could be riding high on that. But for me, I see it as the chemistry between him and Stafford is only getting better, and we're seeing that every week, just like little by little, they're getting better. But also, Devontae Adams was brought in to be that red zone threat, and I think he was always going to score more touchdowns than Puka was, just because Puka doesn't get in the end zone as much. Devontae Adams is more of a red zone threat, and I think the Rams are going to continue to make a conscious effort to get him the football. So I definitely think that this is not an over Rams action, but I'm a Rams fan, so who knows how real that is. So we got number 2 here. This one's a little bit complicated.
Ooh.
But the Rams will have more blowout wins down the back half of the season than the Cardinals will have wins in the back half of the season.
Oh, okay. We don't talk about the Cardinals often, but when we do, it's often because there's weight to it. So what are we classifying as a blowout win? Like 3 scores or more?
Let's say 10 points or more.
10 points or more. Okay. The Cardinals just look like they're ready to implode, though.
I'll go off. I'll give you guys the matchups, the schedule for the Cardinals the back half, because they actually play some tough teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we look at the schedule here, the Cardinals' opponents for the back half of the season, they got the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Jaguars, the Buccaneers, the Rams, of course, got to put the Rams in there, the Texans, the Falcons, the Bengals, and the Rams again.
You know what? I'm going to say the Rams have more blowout wins than the Cardinals have win. Yeah, I don't think that's an over Rams action.
Yeah, I mean they're 2-5 right now. The
Yeah,
Rams just show the kind of product they can put out there. I definitely don't think it's an over
and
Rams action. I would take
especially
it.
like Gannon, there's a very good chance Gannon gets fired and Kyler Murray gets shut down for the year at some point. And I don't think Jacoby Brissett is going to win you many games there. So, yeah, I think the Rams will – like the more and more I think about it, this isn't an over Rams action at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Ram Showcase here says blowout is 3 scores in my mind, but I stand by it. Well, I say we really turn it on some teams. So Sheriff Joe Bag says this is not an over Rams action, but he thinks a blowout is by 3 scores or more. So definitely interesting. Sincere says, I don't know, man. The Rams don't
That's
like blowing
valid.
teams out for some reason. I mean, we just did last week. I think this could be a start of something. I really do think that the Rams, as long as they're not shooting themselves in the foot like they have this season, even in their wins, I really do think this Rams team can put up multiple 10 or more point wins in this season.
Yeah.
But those are my thoughts on that. All right, number 3. This is a little bit bold. Rams Byron Young, who has 9 sacks right now, will break the Rams sack record, which was Aaron Donald's 20.5 sacks back in 2018.
Ooh. See, Byron Young is playing very good. So now I'm realizing he's going to be in striking distance of it in a 17-game season.
He's played 7 games and had 9 sacks, so he hasn't even played half the season yet, and he's already getting halfway there. Edge rushers usually get more sacks than defensive tackles.
Yeah. Plus, he gets a lot of single single coverage because of Jared Verse on the other side. You know what though, it's hard to break that record because teams are going to start prepping for him, and I actually think there could be some games where he's not getting the sack; it's someone else that's doing it. So I'm gonna call this an over Rams action. I think that record is going to be very hard to be broken.
Yeah,
he's got a chance. He's got a chance.
Yeah, and shout out to what Aaron Donald did in 2018 at defensive tackle, having 20.5 sacks with all the attention he had. To your point, Byron Young doesn't get a ton of attention, like double teams, and that's fair. You got Jared Verse on the other side. And speaking of Jared Verse, Rams Showcase says overreaction. Verse is going to steal a lot of those as the season goes on. Do you agree with that?
I do. And maybe not steal. He's going to earn them. But I know what Joe is saying here. Yeah.
Sincere says, I'm thinking 18, not going to lie. Agent Zero has been a dog. Definitely. You can't argue that. He's been so good. And then last one, too many things need to get right or to go right to get the record. So we got kind of mixed reactions here. I think it's interesting because I think it's closer than a lot of us think. Like when you think about breaking a record and Byron Young to be doing that with the sack record, like it doesn't almost sound right. But when you think about it, I mean, like there's a pathway. But kind of to Sheriff Joe's point, it's like there's so many different people that can eat on this defense. Like you could have a game where the conductor goes off or Kobe or Braden Fisk goes off or like there's so many different people to where it's going to be kind of hard to beat them to the quarterback all the time to get and break that record. So
definitely.
All right.
Good one. That's a good one though.
Thank you. Number 4, 3 NFC West teams will be fighting for the number 1 seed by year's end.
When you went there. See, I want to say this is an over Rams action just because like the Niners are so banged up, but they've done, to their credit, they've done a good job fighting. I know like their schedule is not as hard as a lot of other teams. I think there's going to be, as the division plays each other more, right? We get more NFC West matchups. There is going to be some shifts in the division. I could see it being 2. I don't see a scenario where all 3 teams are like in the final 3 weeks of the season and still have a shot at the number 1 seed. So I'm going to say that's over Rams action.
Yeah, that's definitely That's definitely fair. And that one to have 3 teams would be kind of hard, in my opinion. I don't know if we've seen that out of a division having 3. I guess maybe the NFC North last year, but definitely I think they're going to beat up on each other a little bit. But I don't think the 49ers or the Seahawks are going to start imploding or falling off by the end of the year. I think they're still going to be crazy competitive. Now, do they be fighting for the number 1 seed by the year's end? I don't know how likely that is, but definitely interesting. This NFC West is so competitive right now.
Yep. No, definitely. Okay. I'm loving some of these comments here.
Yeah. All right. My 5th and final topic here. This is the season that puts Matthew Stafford in the Hall of Fame. Shout out Rich Eisen on this one.
You know what? That is an over Rams action because, in my opinion, he's already in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. A lot of people don't seem to think that, but I agree with that.
Yeah. I guess if maybe the media haters, like maybe this is the season where Stafford convinces some of those haters.
Yeah.
But I would say this is an over Rams action just because I think he's already in it.
Yeah, totally agree with you. This is the best start he's had to any season in his career. He's playing so well right now. Yep. I agree with you that he should have already been in it. It still feels like Stafford gets a lot of unnecessary flack from the media, and I don't know if it's just because he played in Detroit for all those years or what it is, or the fact he's not a diva quarterback, but he's been playing so well, and he really should have been in the Hall of Fame all along. I think it's an interesting question to look at it from the media perspective of like, would they have seen him as a Hall of Famer if he didn't play this season, and if he didn't have this kind of season and go to maybe the Super Bowl like we think?
So interesting. Just one more thing on Stafford. I know wins are not a quarterback stat to a lot of people, but Stafford had all those bad years in Detroit because of the bad teams around him. I think he's like 2 games away from having a 500 record as the starting quarterback.
That's not too shabby either.
No, because he was in like when he got traded to the Rams, he was in a pretty deep hole.
Yeah, and the media brought that up a lot in terms of like, this is a bad trade because you just look at the record. It's like, I mean, look at the situation around him.
Yeah. Yeah. So once Stafford crosses that bridge, no turning back.
Yeah, seriously. It's been a fun year for him. And
yeah,
that will conclude our over Rams action Wednesday for this week.
Shot by Nolan, Clone 9.
That's hilarious.
Too funny. Awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for playing over Rams action with us. We are going to have another segment of what's more likely, but it's just the Rams. So I'm just going to look here. I did see. Oh, I saw this. Rams Mob added an over Rams action. He said, Stafford has a lot left in the tank and can play into his 40s. Over Rams action? Question mark.
I don't think so. Everybody's going to say it's like he's one injury away from retiring. I think you could make an argument for anybody in that case. I think Stafford plays through a lot more injuries than what we know. Yeah. And I think that what's kept him playing this game isn't trying to win a Super Bowl because he's already done that. Like, that's not his main, like, I'm playing this year because I want to win a Super Bowl. I think he just loves the game, and he's just a competitor. And he's said that so many times before. So I think that as long as he's willing and motivated like he has been, I do think he can play into his 40s.
Well, and something that I heard Joe Flacco talk about it last week, that like he really treasures being able to play and his kids watching him play because like he wants his kids to have memories of him playing. Yeah. And I think Stafford is that kind of dad too. Like I think he really values that, like his girls will be able to say like, oh, I remember when dad, played football as they get older. Right. And so I think there's a lot of motivations that go into it, but from what I read, Stafford's slinging it, just fine. I could see him playing into his 40s.
Yeah. And I think it's just like, it's crazy because everybody always says every year, this injury is going to derail him. this injury is going to send him into retirement, or you're going to see the effects of his age here. I think we can say as Rams fans, he's really only gotten better every year with the Rams. Like he just continued, whether the numbers reflect it or not, and this year they are. It feels like every year he only gets better, and usually for quarterbacks getting older, especially when they're like past 35, that's when you're starting to question like some of their abilities and seeing some drop off. But you haven't seen that, so I really do think again it comes down to how motivated is he. I'd be like I'd be really curious if the Rams win the Super Bowl this year, if he decides to hang it up after that, or if he's like, I want to go and play more because he's that motivated. But obviously that's kind of like a off-season question.
7 more years, but it would be
35. I would not complain, to be honest.
No, I wouldn't be complaining either. No, I'm here for it. Well, are you cool if we get into our next segment here? Where did I put? What's more likely, but it's just the Rams. Right. Okay. So I got to get to my banner here. Sorry. Oops. Okay. So I have some fun ones here for everyone. And if you're wondering, how do I play what's more likely? Well, I'm going to give 2 scenarios, and you can pick option 1, option 2, or list out words that remind you of each option in the chat. And Rams House has not seen these. He's going to have to choose, and the goal for me is to make these as difficult as possible for Rams House and you in the chat. And I'm hoping that you guys can have a couple of moments, right? Okay, okay. Rams House, are you ready for what's more likely, but it's just the Rams?
Let's get it.
Okay, first one. What's more likely? The Rams win their next 5 games in a row, or Stafford throws 5+ touchdowns in one of those games at least one time. Keep in mind, Stafford against the Jags, that was the first time he ever threw 5 touchdowns with the Rams.
Really? That's a weird stat. I would not have thought that, actually. That's crazy. Let's see. I'm just looking at the opponents here. So we play the Saints, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Bucks, and the Panthers next. So, because I could see either one. It's crazy to me to know that Stafford has only had one of those games with 5 touchdowns. Wait, is it 5+ touchdowns? Or is it?
I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that's his first and only game as a Ram with 5 touchdown passes.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you were saying in this over Rams action or in what's more likely if it's 5+ touchdowns in one of the games.
Oh, sorry,
5.
5 or more. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I'm going to say 5 touchdowns.
Everyone else in the chat is saying the 5 wins.
That's kind of making me want to go against the grain a little bit. I just think the Rams this year in particular, like the last couple of years, we've really given it to Kyron a lot in the red zone, and he's been kind of the guy getting a lot of touchdowns. But it feels like the Rams have made a conscious effort, and part of it is because we have Devontae Adams now. But to throw the ball within like the 5-yard line now, rather than run it, and we're seeing a lot more of those attempts. And I just think Stafford's playing so well that he can have another one of those games.
Yeah. 5. It might be as soon as next week. Who knows?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. All right. Next one. Okay, this is a fun one, I'll admit. What's more likely? A Seahawks fan admits a Seahawk is just trying to make a seagull sound cool. Because that's exactly what a seagull is. A Seahawk is a seagull. It's my own beef here. Okay, anyway. Or the 49ers have Mac Jones start at quarterback the rest of season, no matter what, injury, healthy, whatever for Brock Purdy.
This is a good one.
And for anyone out there questioning this, I have Googled this before. I came up with this question. I cannot be convinced that a Seahawk is anything but a seagull, the most annoying bird in existence.
Yeah, so I see Sheriff Joe Bags in here saying that Mac Jones is the better QB, so
So
he could be the better QB. I'm just like, I'm wondering what this 49ers organization looks at this situation as. Like, are they the type of team that's like, I guess they are because they did it with Garoppolo, where it's like playing the guy who's not getting paid the big contract. So I guess I'll go Mac Jones starts the rest of the year because maybe you can make an argument like Kyle Shanahan could say, like, why would we take the guy out who's winning so many games and playing so hot rather than putting in a guy who hasn't played in weeks? So I'll say Mac
okay.
Jones starts the rest of the year. A little QB controversy.
Fair enough, because and this is my passive aggressive way to just point out that a Seahawk, like Sheriff Joe is saying here, is literally not the thing that exists.
Yeah, that's weird.
There's no such thing as a Seahawk. It's a made-up word that tries to make seagulls sound cool. Anyway, okay, now that I've taken my shot at that,
I like it. It's a little subtle shot.
yeah. What's more likely? Sorry. Okay, this is which Rams player is more likely to have over 150 all-purpose yards in a game? Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, Terrence Ferguson, or Xavier Smith? So this could be running, it could be receiving, it could be return yards.
I'm going to go Whittington.
Yeah?
I like Whittington for the end of rounds, and he gets involved in the passing game. He's a really good kick returner when it's in his hands. So I'd go Whittington.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm here. I actually think Xavier Smith out of that crew, just because I think he's gonna bring one to the house one of these days, and I think it'll just be like one game where we're like, oh, that's the Xavier Smith game, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like he's got that coming. And yes, thank you, Nolan, for recognizing that.
I like X though. He's really cool, and it's not just because he plays that punt return like gadget role, but he does remind me a lot of Brandon Powell, which I really like Brandon Powell because it felt like whenever the ball was in his hands, it was like something electric could happen. So definitely could see X for sure.
Definitely. Ooh. Penn Smith down for one of the card games. Yeah, I could see that.
That actually does kind of feel real, especially like State Farm Stadium. Yeah. I could just see it, for whatever reason, him going off.
Hey, did you know that the Rams played a home playoff game at State Farm Stadium once and they won? Yeah.
Was I alive then? That was a cool game though.
Yeah, literally that's one of my favorite, like, whenever Ram fans go like, did you know? And it's funny. I remember months after that game happened, people in my comment section would be like, did you know that the Rams won a playoff game in Arizona and it was a home game? And I'm like, that just happened a few months ago.
It's like acting like it's a trivia question or something.
Totally. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. What's more likely? This is a good one. I think it's a good one. Maybe you be the judge. Rams get the number 1 seed in the I should have said NFC, or Byron Young leads the NFL in sacks.
Ooh, that's a good one. Because it's another one of those things where I can see both of them happening, but picking one. I'm going to say Byron Young leads the NFL in sacks, but because I got to pick one. It's been a while since, I don't know. I'm going to go Byron Young. That's what I'm going.
Okay. I see a lot of number 1 seeds here, and some people are like, "Why not both?"
Yeah,
that's not.
I want to say
game,
that, but I got
that's fair. To be fair, if Byron Young did do that, there's a very good chance that's one of the reasons the Rams have the number 1 seed.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, maybe that wasn't as hard as I thought it was.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more. Got one more for you guys. One more. This one is a little complicated, so hear me out, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to bring in a visual aid to help with this one here. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
So let me just sharing is caring. So if we look here specifically at the number 1 seed, currently the Rams have a 10% chance, okay, at the number 1 seed. Again, this playoffstatus.com, I cannot stress enough. It only calculates for math. It is nothing to do with like player evaluation or anything like that. Just statistically, right now, with the Rams and their opponents and the rest of the NFC, they have a 10% chance at making the number 1 seed. Mm-hmm. So there are 5 teams that have a higher chance than the Rams right now currently. What's more likely after the Rams bye week? Their percentage goes up like higher than 10%, or 3 of the 5 teams ahead of them lose. And the screen doesn't show my full comment. That's too bad. Okay. Never had that happen before. But the teams ahead of them, you have the 49ers at 15%, the Eagles 18%, the Lions at 12%, the Buccaneers at 16%, and then the Packers at 13%.
Okay. I'm going to say option 2.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think that's fair. I'm still like wrapping my brain around this topic, but I think option 2 feels real to me. What do you think?
I've been watching this every week, and it's pretty much, it hasn't grown a whole lot. The one thing that I have noticed is that the teams that are like below the playoff line, their percentages at the number 1 pick goes down dramatically. And even like the Eagles being at 18% or the 49ers 15%, they've pretty much been between 10 and like 15% all year long. So it's definitely one of those things. A loss can definitely cost you, especially like an NFC loss for sure. But I personally think the Rams will go up based on what happens on this bye week. Now, I know that the Seahawks are also on bye week, but their percentage is still currently lower than the Rams right now. And so, if the Packers lose to the Steelers, Rams go up, right? If the Lions drop a game, Rams go up. If the Eagles lose to the Giants again, Rams go up. Saying.
Yeah. Definitely something to keep an eye on. And I mean, like, I could really see the Steelers beating the Packers too. That little Rodgers revenge game narrative. That'll be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Awesome. Oh, we got a shout out. Rudy from the Remelia Sports Report. Good to see you, my friend. Oh, blessings on you. Thanks for stopping by, man. Yeah. Okay, I know there were some questions in here. Well, guys, thanks for playing. What's more likely, but it's just the Rams. That was fun. And we continue to do that, every Wednesday. For the next couple Wednesdays, I will be in a hotel room because I'm traveling for work. So you guys can just get used to Peo on the road. And if you want to see my sketchy hotel room, that's what you get.
Peo, your presence matters enough. That's all we need.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep. You want me to be more Canadian-y?
How would you do that?
He wants me to put on the Canadian accent there and get some maple syrup and eat a beaver tail. Yeah. Go put the puck in the back of the net there. Eh?
There you go. There it is. See, guys, he's got it in it.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember when I first started doing this, some people thought it was the weirdest thing ever. They're like, "Why are you a Canadian and you like the Rams?" And I'm just like, "Well, like, who else am I going to cheer for? Why not?"
Yeah. We got a comment here from Rudy, which, by the way, Rudy, it's great to see you in here.
Yeah,
he says
Rudy.
Rams are at 5-2, should be at least 6-1, but okay. The Rams haven't even played a full 4 quarters of good football yet. I haven't even scratched the surface of how great we will be down the stretch.
Yeah.
And couldn't agree with you more. Like, even in the wins that we've had, even this Jaguars game, you can make an argument we didn't play a full 4 quarters, because that third quarter we kind of like went into a lull a little bit. But I I've been teasing this video for so long, but tomorrow I think I should have a video out on this that the
Oh,
Rams really could become very dominant and close to unstoppable, and that you could make a legitimate argument that this team could be 7-0. Just because like you said, Rudy, we've had a lot of games where we've just shot ourselves in the foot. We've made the mistakes that have cost us games and mistakes that haven't yet, but made the games look closer. So definitely think that we're just scratching the surface of this whole thing.
absolutely. And I love that comment by Rudy because it really puts in perspective. Like, it's hard to win in the NFL, and the fact that the Rams are like they're 5-2, they could be 6-1 or 7-0, and I wouldn't have been shocked. I wouldn't have been shocked at all.
Yeah, it's funny too because I think any team in any fan base can make an argument of play the what if game, so to speak, where it's like, if we just did this, if we didn't drop this ball, if we didn't have this flag, then we would have won this game. But I think really, if you look with an unbiased lens at this team and you watch every game, there really are a lot of those moments where it's like, man, we're really getting in our own way here. And the Rams have still won those games even when they're doing that. But they've also lost 2 heartbreaking games in games that they've done that as well. So I think a lot of people tend to look at it in a negative light of man, this team is just doomed. We keep getting in our own way. But in my mind, it's encouraging because all these things are so correctable. And we have the roster and we have the coaching staff to where I'm like, man, how good can this team really be? I think the sky's the limit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before we get back to the comments and questions, while I have it here, I've been meaning to do this every week, but because I find this fascinating. Mm-hmm. But every week, this playoffstatus.com, they list the Rams' most important games for this week. So I thought for our viewers, let's go over what are the most important games for Ram fans to pay attention to this upcoming Sunday, even though it's the Rams bye week. So are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So these are the Rams' most important games when the Rams are on the bye week here. So the first one is the Texans versus the 49ers with an importance factor of 11. Obviously, because the 49ers have a win over the Rams, but they also have the same record and they're in the same division. So Go Texans.
Yeah, let's go Texans.
Yeah. The Giants and Eagles, because they're both NFC opponents, also has importance factor of 6. And so if the Giants win, the Rams percentage goes up by 1. And so that's, the perfect week here is Texans beat Niners, Giants beat Eagles, and then the Steelers would beat the Packers, would be the next most important game there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, because Packers being NFC team.
Yep.
To that. The Saints versus Bucks. This one's interesting because the Rams played both the Saints and Bucks later on in the season, but also the Bucks being the 5-2 team, right?
Yeah.
And if the Bucks somehow dropped a divisional game against the Saints, that would hurt them a lot in terms of the NFC, seeding long term. So I wouldn't mind, if the Saints can beat their division rival there.
Yeah, and actually historically, especially recently, the Saints actually have had really close games with the Buccaneers. It's one of those weird divisional matchups where you would think a game's going to be a blowout or go one way, but they're either close or the Saints pull it out. So even with when Tom Brady was there.
I did not know that. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. That's something to watch. The Dolphins versus the Falcons. I don't want to put too much weight in the Dolphins being able to upset the Falcons, especially because the Falcons play really well at home. So and the Dolphins look like they are just kind of a dumpster fire right now. Sorry, Grandizer. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the Dolphins and Falcons matchup?
I mean, we'd love to see the Dolphins pull that off, but you just can't get your hopes up into it. It's just it's not realistic. But you never know. Anytime you think you know the NFL and anytime you think you know what's going to happen, something completely different happens. So I'm just going to go on with the expectation of the Dolphins are going to lose to the Falcons just so maybe they can pull off an upset. We'll see.
That's fair. The Ravens and the Bears matchup. If the Ravens win, that actually helps the Rams because though the Rams don't play the Bears this year, the Bears do have a 4-2 record and will be competing in the NFC. So that's something, that's a team to watch. And then they got the Chargers and Vikings on Thursday Night Football, just because Vikings are an NFC opponent. And then Bills and Panthers, because the Panthers are over 500, which is crazy to think, but it's there. So Cowboys and Broncos, again, less of an impact there. And then they have the Chiefs and Commanders here. It has an impact score of 0. The reason why they include this, I'm guessing, is just because the Commanders are an NFC team. But Commanders are pretty banged up right now, and I think Jaden Daniels is out. So anyway, those are the most important games for Ram fans to check out while the Rams are on bye week.
Got a lot of good games this week. Going to be fun to keep an eye on that, especially for the implications. I saw this comment coming in here from Lorenta. He says, "You two seem like the nicest YouTubers and passionate about the Rams." First off, thanks for saying that. That's so kind
that's so kind of you. Thanks.
He says, "Our Rams got the division, but the Seahawks worry me more than the 49ers. Go Rams." What do you think about that?
So I have to admit, I was wrong about the Seattle Seahawks. I am one of those people that in the offseason, I was like, I don't like what they're doing. They were a 10-win team last year, and they got rid of a lot of players, and I wasn't a believer in Sam Darnold, and I don't want to talk about Cooper Kupp being in those gross uniforms. Anyway, I know. Yeah, sorry to make you almost vomit there.
Not on stream.
But I was wrong. Seattle has played very efficient football. They have looked like one of the best teams in the NFL, and I agree here with Lorenta. I think that the 49ers, though they beat the Rams already once this year, they just, because of all their injuries that are just stockpiling, I think that the Seahawks look like the much better roster in the NFC West right now than the 49ers do. So I could totally see this coming down to the Seahawks and the Rams.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear me right now, by the way?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. It says like the Wi-Fi is going up and down. So I didn't know if I was going in and out here. But Seahawks, definitely a team that a lot of people overlooked coming into this year. I was like scared because I looked at the way they built their team and I was like, I'm actually kind of high on them heading into the year. So far, that's panned out. I think the biggest thing with the Seahawks is like they are very complete all around. Like every single unit from the offense, defense, and even the special teams is like very solid. And so you're not going to have a lot of those like weird mistakes made. But I think like the biggest mistakes you can make them have is like what we saw with Sam Darnold against the Texans, where he had all those turnovers. Yeah. And if you can get like pressure on him, get in his face, he actually does pretty good against the pressure, but he also has been known to have a reputation of turning the football over. So Seahawks, I think that game, the Cooper Kupp revenge game in SoFi when we're wearing our, what do they call it? The midnight blue uniforms. That's going to be a really big game for sure with Rams and Seahawks, just because like it's definitely shaping up to be like one that could matter a lot here. So
definitely. And yeah, this is a good point here. The Rams, not only are they good at developing their own players, they develop players for the Seahawks.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, taking all those it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun though, just to be able to see that matchup, just because I think it should be a really good game. And even last year, that Demarcus Robinson walk-off touchdown against the Seahawks, that was so much fun. That kind of game. And then we almost had the Jimmy G backup game win against the Seahawks last year too. But I think this team's definitely a lot different with Sam Darnold and the way they've kind of built their team.
To be honest, they just seem like a team that, like, you know how there's some teams that start off the year really hot and then they kind of like tamper off? I don't see that in the Seattle team. I see this as a consistent team that they might have a bad game here and there, like any normal team would, but I think they're going to be a contending team right to the the end of the playoff race. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. It only feels like they're getting better, unfortunately, as weeks go on, and they're just playing good football. Like it kind of reminds me of when the Steelers are playing really good football, like in years past, when people could like make complaints about we're not winning by like a lot of points, whatever. It's like the Steelers were always just playing like fundamentally really well. And
Yeah.
to me, that's kind of what reminds me of the Seahawks. They're not like super flashy, but they do so many things like at a really good level. And there's not
Yeah.
really one thing where it's like this is a huge major weakness on their team. And
Definitely.
unfortunately, I think that they have a better coach now than what they had with Pete Carroll.
I miss Pete.
Yeah, we need him back.
Bring back Pete. I mean, I'm sure the Raiders would let him go.
Yeah, honestly,
We got a couple of questions here. One from GP Shadow. Who do you like better, Landman or Ernest Jones? Great question.
very great question. I think they're both really good players. I think they're around like a similar level. But to me, like now with Landman and just like how quickly we've all fallen in love, like as Rams fans, of what
Yeah.
he can do, especially like having a void at linebacker the last couple of years. I like Landman a lot. But like if Ernest Jones was on this team and Landman was on the Seahawks and that trade never happened, would my mind say Ernest Jones? I think they're actually really close in talent, to be honest.
I think you're right. I think Ernest Jones might be a little bit better of a open field tackler, but I think Landman
Yeah.
is better at generating fumbles and like from a turnover forcing perspective. And in today's NFL, like if your defense gets a turnover, that is the best thing your defense can do, right? Because
Yeah.
say you have the best secondary in the NFL, well, the rules favor so much of the offense that secondary can be null some games, right? But
Yeah.
if you have like a linebacker like Landman who can at any moment punch out that ball, cause a fumble on a running back, that is an incredible skill to have. And Ernest Jones, I never really saw him as someone who like generated a lot of fumbles.
Yeah. I think that's definitely an argument that you can put to Ernest or to Landman's side. I think like a little pushback with Ernest Jones of the turnover. He creates a lot more turnovers like interceptions.
Yeah.
And we saw this on Monday night too, I think. But he actually has 6 interceptions on his career, and I think he had 2 or 3 last year. So I think he takes away the ball through the air more than Landman does. But we also haven't seen him a lot on the Rams yet to like see his coverage ability. But really, like to me, I really do think these players are super close. And if you were just to tell me that trade never happened, and I was born today, and you just told me that the Rams had Ernest Jones or Nate Landman, and I watched both of them, I'd be like, these players are 2 really good players, and they're incredibly close. I'm just glad that we're not at that point anymore where Rams fans are bringing up Ernest Jones all the time of like, why did we let him go?
Right.
Because Nate Landman has just played so well that we don't really talk about it as much anymore.
We got a question here from our resident Dolphins fan, Grandizer. Question, Rams House. Do you know Peo calls Coach McVay and Shula and LaFleur at halftime?
So I did not know this until this week. It was the London game, and we were up by a lot. It was stress-free, so I was like, why not? It's halftime, tune in to Peo Time's watch party. I see him doing a mock phone call. I thought he was on a real phone call at first, like to just like a family member or something. And then it sounded like he was talking to Sean McVay. I was like, you could make me believe that he's actually on the phone with McVay. So I found that out this week. That was hilarious to me.
Yeah, that's a halftime bit I do for the watch party. I asked him, like, okay, who should I call? And this week's fake phone call was very civil. Normally I'm like, trying to get to the bottom of what's going wrong. But yeah, it was a good fake phone call this week.
Yeah. Hopefully, I think Sean McVay should be in a good mood, right? I mean, he was having such a good game.
Yep. Let's see here. We'll take a couple more questions, and then I do think we are coming to the end of the show. But Grandazer's asking, well, Landman is playing well, low-key. Do you have an eye on Rams inside linebacker Chris Paul, whom the Rams allowed to get away via waivers? And do you regret that choice? This is with the Seahawks now. To be honest, I don't, just because of how well the Rams defense has been playing, like the past 2 games especially.
Yeah.
But I guess only time will really tell. I think it's probably too soon to really say if he's the one that got away, right?
It definitely needs more time to figure that out. But I think it's interesting to me because even to this point now, I believe Pooh Paul is on the Seahawks practice squad. He's not even on
Yeah.
like their active roster. And what tells me there is like there other teams can claim him off the practice squad, and if they liked him that much, I think they'd be trying harder to get him on their team. So I look at it that way, and then also I really do like the Rams linebackers right now. So
Yeah.
like Landman has played so well, and then obviously you got Spates playing well, and I really like Sean Dolak a lot. Like
Yeah.
he's a fun player, and I think he's got a bright future. He's
Probably
young.
not talked about enough. Yep.
No, yeah, and like yeah, so I really like where the Rams room is right now. I definitely thought I'd be like feeling the effects of the Pooh Paul, like getting rid of him before the season started more than we are. But even if you have Space go down or Landman go down, I love Dolak too. So I don't know. That's kind of where I stand.
Yeah. Comment here from Rob is Coach looked pretty fired up after the game. Do you think it's started a fire and he'll keep the pedal to the metal the rest of the season, or does he go back to conservative? You know, I think one of the things about Sean McVay is you can't. Let me rephrase this. I've heard people criticize him for being too aggressive, but I've also heard people criticize Sean McVay for being too conservative.
Yeah.
I think that's what you want in a coach, right? Where he knows when it is time to be aggressive and he's not afraid to do it. But then in turn, he knows when it's like, okay, you know what? We can play it safe here, right? Because there is a time for it. There is, right? We've seen coaches lose games because they were too aggressive. You could argue actually the Jaguars lost the game
Yeah.
because they were too aggressive all the time, right? I mean, you go for a fourth down 4 times in a game and don't get any of them, right? And then like maybe they take a field goal early in the game is a little bit different, right? So who knows? So I think Sean McVay will continue to be a wise coach who will have his games where I'm sure we'll be frustrated of like, oh, you should have gone for it there. But I think he's a good coach. I'm excited to see, there's no other coach I'd rather have in the NFL.
Yeah, because everybody always looks at the things he can dial up, the ways he schemes guys up, and that's definitely a big part of McVay. He's a mastermind, but he's also a motivator. He's a leader. Like
Yeah.
he's the complete package, and I really wouldn't take any coach over him. I think it's crazy after bad games when people are like, "Fire McVay." It's like, have you guys seen what he's done for this team?
Yeah.
There's no, like, in my opinion, there's no other coach in this league right now that is more complete, like well-rounded, and that could get more out of a roster than what McVay is doing.
Totally. And like, it's not just like the X's and O's stuff, like the relational aspect of coaching that Sean McVay is so strong at. But I will, Rob, I totally appreciate your question. And I think this question is more birthed out of the frustration of like settling for field goals, right? And I think ultimately, as long as the Rams players execute, we won't have to worry about settling for field goals. And if they can, especially if Devontae Adams keeps doing his thing, I think the Rams will not have too many of those games where like they settle for field goals the entire first half.
I really do think that they just get better as the year goes on, and we're going to see more of those mistakes cleaned up. And I really do think that like a lot of it about the Rams having these big wins, these blowout wins, and getting on teams and getting the wins that we want to see, like those nice, like relaxing, stress-free wins, starts with how you start the game. And in my mind, like I see that as the Rams start off hot on offense, get 1, maybe 2 touchdowns to start, put pressure on the other team, and then this defense is built for those situations to when you get up on them early and kind of put that pressure on early on the offensive side of the ball, then the defense feeds off of that. And they're a really good defense to hold teams down, and that's really what sets up these like bigger blowout kind of wins that fans want. And I really think that we're close to seeing that more. It's just all about like Rams offense starting off hotter and faster earlier. And
Absolutely.
I really think that we will just continue to see that improve.
Question here from Justin. What is Rams versus Saints on week 9 at SoFi? I'm not sure if he's asking what television station it's on. I'm not sure.
I don't know if he meant to say like Intel, Rams versus Saints,
Maybe.
Intel week 9 at SoFi.
The game is at SoFi.
It is. First
So
home game there in a while.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Rams after their long road trip, right? Because they go to Baltimore, then they stay in Baltimore, practice at a baseball diamond for a week,
Yeah.
then take a overnight sleepover to London, play a game, dominate, fly home. Stafford doesn't get a sword, and we still need to get that man a sword, I tell you.
Why doesn't he have a sword at this point?
Yeah.
Why don't we have a sword? I think that'd be cool.
Every Rams fan should get a sword.
Yeah. Super Bowl champions shouldn't get a ring. They should get a sword.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is an interesting. Go ahead.
This is off topic. Did you see Sean McVay on Rich Eisen today?
I haven't yet. I did see that, but I haven't watched it yet. No.
Okay, can I spoil one thing for you?
Yeah.
Okay, my favorite part of it. I guess they were like over in London, and they didn't like have time to like go out or something like that. And so McVay says to Stafford, like, "Hey, like, why don't you just like come up with like a trick play or something like that?" And he said that like Stafford in 10 seconds came up with a play, and McVay's like, that would have taken me 8 hours to think of that. and so, oh yeah, spoiler warning, I guess. And so it was just, and then Rich Eisen like asked him like, oh, well, I have to ask, like, will we see that play? Like, is it in the playbook? And McVay said, it's in there. And if we run it, I'll text you.
That sounds like such a McVay thing to say. That's so cool, though.
Yeah,
I love it because like Stafford is playing really well. He's a great player. He's a great leader, but he is like a coach on the field, and I know that's kind of like a superlative and something that people say about a lot of players, but he really is. And going back to that Rams Texans game, week 1, and do you remember that play? It was 3rd down, and we had Puka go through it was either the B gap or the C gap, and he caught the pass, and that ended the game. But McVay said on one of his interviews, I don't remember where it was, he said that Stafford was the one that came up with that play and was like, wouldn't you think that if Puka's going through one of those gaps and he's going to like try to block a safety or a linebacker, like how are you supposed to react? Like you're going to want to push him around. And he goes out on a route. That's a 1st down, and Stafford came up with that play. And so I just think it's so cool. Just like the brain of Stafford on top of the giftings that he has.
It probably don't talk about Stafford's football IQ enough, right? But ultimately, that's one of the reasons the Rams traded to get Stafford is that football, IQ between the ears, right?
Yeah.
Well, Rams House, this has been an absolute pleasure, as always. I think it's been a good first show on First Down Rams on a Wednesday.
Yeah, thanks everybody who tuned in. I say it every week, sound like a broken record, but you guys really do make this show so much fun. All the comments, the engaging in our segments, like you guys make this what it is. There's a reason that this is a live show and it's not pre-recorded. You guys really make the night. So I just appreciate all of you for supporting us, not only tonight, but on our videos, for commenting, for liking. Mm-hmm. You certainly aren't unnoticed. You guys make our channels what it is. So appreciate you guys. You guys have a great night tonight. Peo, do you have anything coming out soon to look forward to?
We'll probably have a couple clips from this live stream that come out, but ultimately I'm going to give myself a bye week, mainly because I have a pretty big event for work I'm operating this weekend. So I'll have some random videos from the road. But other than that, I likely will, my next big thing will be First Down Rams next Wednesday, same time. And I'll be in a different hotel room. And then I think, the Saints versus Rams watch party. And what about you? Do you got anything coming out next couple of days?
Mm-hmm. I think tomorrow I'm aiming to have that video that I've been hinting at for so much time. Either tomorrow or Friday is when that should be coming out. And then, exactly. And then tomorrow also we should have the clipped out segment of the Over Rams action for you guys to find there. And then we'll have our game preview on Tuesday. maybe
Sweet.
some random stuff here and there. But yeah, definitely look out for a video tomorrow.
Dude, you've been crushing those game previews, man. So good. Thanks for doing those. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, everyone, that's going to do it for our first down. We got to come up with a good outro. So maybe like first down Rams.
Yeah.
The show is done. Or
Yeah.
first, wait, let's do this. Like point to each other.
Yeah.
No, other way. So first down Rams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
You guys
See
have a
ya,
great
Mike.
night.